today, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
The December 7th attack on Pearl Harbor forced the United States into World War II. And while President Roosevelt called it a day that would live in infamy, it is also a day that America promised to never forget. Each year at the American Air Power Museum, the Long Island Air Force Association keeps that promise at the dropping of the Roses memorial ceremony.
We want to remember this day because of its importance, not only in getting us into the war with Japan, but the lives that were lost and remembering those lives.
To give unselfish service to God and country, and we ask this in God's holy name. Amen.
We bless one rose for each year after the war and one white rose for 9/11. And then they're put on old World War II Sky Typer planes, and those planes take off here at 12 o'clock, and they drop those roses on top of the Statue of Liberty at exactly 12:55, which is 7:55 Pearl Harbor time when the first bomb hit.
The dropping of the roses memorial ceremony. It was a tradition started by a fellow named Joe Hudresco. Joe Hudresco was a Navy seaman on board the USS Salis, a hospital ship. He was there at Pearl Harbor during the attack, and in 1970 he started this tradition of dropping roses over the Statue of Liberty. Pearl Harbor Survivors Association, they used to do their own thing. They were getting all very elderly, and they would go to a bay area somewhere and drop a wreath. They came on board, I guess it was in around 2006. There was 14 of them then, and we're down to one today, Seymour Blutt.
Seymour Blutt is 99 years old.
I'm very proud to be here and to witness my father being honored. My father is a very modest person, and up until about 20 years ago, never really talked much about his military time. It became over time a little bit easier, and then coming here, I think it brought everything to the forefront of his memory.
Helping to keep those memories alive is the American Air Power Museum's collection of vintage airplanes, and many of them are still operational.
These are World War II training airplanes. The T-6 SNJ version, which we have, is the Navy's version of the standard advanced trainer that they use in the military. They made like 16,000 of these airplanes. Every Allied airman who flew in the war, whether you flew bombers or fighters, all flew the T-6 SNJ. Before you could get into the Mustang or the Corsair, you had to fly and prove you could fly this airplane. So it's important in that respect. They use these all through the war. And again, it's a warbird.
Joining Jim in the back seat is Joe Daly, who treasures the opportunity to perform his duty for the Pearl Harbor survivors.
I've been doing this now, I guess this is the 12th year, and the first year when I came here there were 9 Pearl Harbor survivors. This year there's going to be 1 left. These men went through an awful lot, and it's nice that we can recognize what their sacrifice was.
Recognizing the sacrifice of our troops are the Patriot Guard Riders, a group formed to counter protesters at military funerals. For volunteer Pete Jepson, the call to never forget starts at home.
My wife and I, we will bring the kids to different functions to stand a flag line. We've brought them to funerals. We've brought them to the funeral homes to stand at the wakes for the veterans. We've brought them to ceremonies like this every chance we can.
We can never forget. We can never forget.
The part of the never forget is to make sure the children know what happened, and this is the way to do it.
Today, when we hear never forget, it conjures memories of the World Trade Center attack on 9/11. But we must also remember another dark day in our nation's history, December 7th, 1941.